Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to the channel. So it is already July, which means we are officially over halfway through with 2020, which is just insane. This year has been a year unlike any other that any of us have ever experienced, and so the fact that it's halfway over is probably a good thing, quite frankly. But that also means that we are now halfway into the year, so all of our 2020 entertainment goals are quickly reaching their end. Well, at least they're reaching their halfway point. So you should be about halfway through all of your goals. So what I want to do today is, much like I did in March, I want to do a quarter two, or what will equate to a mid-year entertainment goal check-in. So we'll talk about any updates or any tweaks that might need to be made, and then we'll look at my results from my quarter two goals, and we'll also talk about some quarter three goals. So we've got lots of different things to talk about today, so without wasting any more time, let's dive right in. We'll start with the ones that I've made no changes to since the beginning of the year. And so first up is to read 12 books from my physical collection. So I could have read these in audiobook form, in ebook form, or in actual physical form. It didn't matter. They just had to be 12 books that were already in my physical book collection. So I am very pleased to say that I have already succeeded this goal. I have read 13 of the 12 books required. So I am at 108% of this goal. So yay. Starting off on a very good note. I don't think it's going to be quite as good as we continue through this list, but at least I've been able to achieve one of my goals that I set out for myself at the beginning of 2020. And I have been thoroughly pleased with the fact that I've been able to get through so many books in my physical collection. And frankly, I'm going to continue doing that throughout the year. So I imagine this goal will probably be somewhere around 200% by the time it's all said and done, but we'll see where the year takes us. So read 12 books from my physical collection is passed. Thank goodness. Starting out on a high note. The next goal was to read at least 12 graphic novels from my digital or physical collection. So I'm very happy to say that I am 58% of the way to achieving this goal. So I've read 7 of 12. The other caveat with this goal, however, is that one of those 12 must be Watchmen. So if you guys have watched my TBR, you know that Watchmen was on my July TBR. Unfortunately, due to a certification that I'm studying for and a test that I take next week, so help me God, unfortunately, I have not even cracked open Watchmen. I've done very, very little physical reading this month because all of that reading has been for studying. All that time that I would have spent reading, I should say, has been spent studying. So hopefully, I'll be done with that at the end of this month, and then I'll be able to put Watchmen back onto my August TBR so that I can finally knock that classic off my list. So I would say that I have a 99% chance of succeeding at this goal. I am setting the bar high because I really think that I will pass this one with no issue. So I am 7 of 12 in of reading 12 graphic novels from my physical or digital collection, and I don't see this one being a problem completing by the end of 2020. My next goal is, frankly, one that I should probably just erase at this point, but I'm keeping it on there just in case this urge comes back around. But it was to reach at least album 115 in my 315 albums journey. I know a lot of you are new from when I posted this entertainment goals video back on January 1st, 2020, so let me explain what this is a little bit. What I did last year was take two lists. One was a list from the 1001 albums you should listen to before you die, and then the other was like the 500 greatest albums of all time from the Rolling Stones. I took those two lists, found out which ones were on both, and then that equated out to about 315 albums. So then I created this 315 albums journey, and you can find it on Cinefessions.com. If you go there, just search hashtag 315, and you'll see this 315 album journey that I started last year. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of the data that I had last year, and so I thought this whole thing was done. I was able to recover some of it, and so I decided I was going to continue on with this journey as far as I could, but I have not touched it at all this year. So I am 0% of the way into this goal. For those wondering, this would be about 50 albums that I would have to listen to in order for me to achieve this goal this year. Unfortunately, I just don't see this one happening. I'm going to put my percentage, or the chances of me completing this, at about a 1%. It is very slim. I've just not had the desire to really dive back into this. All of my time in the car, one, it's been limited thanks to the work from home orders, and two, anytime I spend in the car, I do want to listen to my audiobooks, so I've been spending time there as opposed to listening to these classic albums. So if you want to know more, definitely search on Cinefessions.com for that hashtag 315 albums, and there'll be a whole explanation of what this is in more detail on the website, but that's kind of the gist of it, at least. But unfortunately, reaching album 115 in my 315 albums journey just doesn't look like something I'm going to be able to complete this year, so I'm putting my chances of completion at 1%. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe at the end of this quarter, I'll have some new exciting things to tell you about this, but as of right now, it just doesn't feel one that's too exciting for me anymore. Speaking of music goals, though, my next goal was to listen to at least 25 albums from my physical album collection. And I'm happy to say that, unlike in the first quarter update, I actually do have something to talk about here because I did start this goal this past quarter. At this point in the year, I am 40% of the way through this journey. So I am 10 of 25 albums in. And frankly, it's been a lot of fun just because I love listening to my physical album collection. But something that's going to put a big damper on this is what you see behind me, these movie shelves. They actually made me displace my, where I keep my, turntable. And so because of that, I don't actually have it plugged in or really in a spot that I can actually use it at this point. So I am a little bit nervous if I'm going to be able to complete this. I will have to move where I have my turntable right now. But because I do get this urge to start listening to my physical albums quite, every few months or so, I really feel like this is one I potentially could complete. So I'm going to put my chances of completion for this goal, I'm going to say 40%, just because I am concerned because I've moved it and I don't really have a great spot for it right now. So who knows if I'll be able to get to this one or not. But like I said, I'm 10 of 25 albums in, so I'm about 40% of the way through. So there's definitely a chance that I can complete this one. So I'll set it at 40% and just hope for the best. My next goal was to get caught up with the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Extended Universe, and then the Star Wars film franchise. So I have not watched all of the films in these franchises, which is just ridiculous because I love all of them, at least what I've seen of them so far. So I started the year with needing to watch 12 films in order to complete all three of these universes. And at this point, I've only watched 2 of those 12. So I am 16% of the way through completing this goal this year. But the good news is, if you guys watched my most recent unboxing, I did receive Star Wars The Skywalker Saga on 4K for my birthday. So I do have a few of the films from the Star Wars universe that I need to watch. I basically need to watch Episode 8, Episode 9, and then Solo, and I'll be caught up there. This past quarter, I did watch Aquaman, though. So I've watched Shazam in quarter 1, and then Aquaman in quarter 2. Loved both of them very, very much. So very happy to complete the DCEU at this point. And now it's just a matter of doing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is my largest to complete. And then finally the Star Wars universe. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish the Star Wars universe before I do the MCU, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to put my chances of completion at this one at 75% because I really think this is one that I can do. It's just a matter of, doing it. Basically, these are all films I genuinely want to watch, and I own most of them or have access to all of them at this point. So no excuse for me not to get to it. So I'm pretty sure I will. So finishing, or rather getting caught up with the MCU, the DCEU, and the Star Wars film franchises. I have 10 films left to go, and I'm putting my chances of completion at 75%. This next goal is probably the most uniquely me that you're going to find on this list, and most people just aren't going to care about it, and I totally understand that and respect that because the fact that I care about it is just ridiculous. But the goal was to win a championship in at least 8 major sports video games. So I have only completed 1 of 8 at this point. I completed WWE 2K14. I won my 2 titles in that, the major titles in that, and the my career mode that I was doing. And so I'm counting that one as beat for the pro wrestling genre. I also want to do the 5 major sports, so baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer, and then MMA and boxing. And that'll be the other 7 that I hope to complete. And then in here, I think I said I also have to complete these on at least 5 different systems. So just to kind of move me around a little bit in what I'm playing, that's the reason I decided to go that route. So again, at this point, I am 13% of the way there, or 1 of 8 games in. So I'm going to put my chances of completion on this one, I'm going to put them at 60%. Because I love sports video games so much, I really feel like sometime this year, I'm really going to get in the mood to start playing more sports games. So I'm going to put my chances of completion at 60%, and we'll see where the year takes me. But 1 of 8 there, 16% of the way in. Let's see what the rest of the year brings. The final 2 goals are ones that I did make some adjustments to in my Q1 update video. So the first one was definitely the largest in this set of goals, and one that I had to change just because my collection grew so much. But initially, my original goal was to watch 100% of my 4K collection by the end of 2020. Because my collection has grown so much, that goal was just not realistic. It was virtually impossible for me. And so it did adjust a little bit. So just to give some color around this. So when I set this goal, it meant I had 23 movies to watch. Very doable. Not a huge problem. By the end of Q1, it meant that I had 59 4K movies to watch. So in order to adjust it, I decided that I was going to change it from 100% of my collection watched by the end of 2020 to 50% of my collection watched by the end of 2020. So that's where my goal stands right now. By the end of 2020, I hope to have 50% of my 4K collection watched. On top of that, I hope to have 100% watched by the end of 2021. So this became changed from a one-year goal into a multi-year goal because it seemed more realistic to me at the time. So at the time of this recording, I have watched 14% of my 4K movies. So that means of the 95 4K releases that I currently own, I have watched 13 of those. And I should clarify this a little bit. I have seen much more than 13 of these movies, but I am not counting ones that I have not actually watched my physical 4K disc of, because I've seen these other ones like American Psycho, for example. I've seen that movie I've seen that movie half a dozen times, but I've not watched it in 4K, which the reason to buy the 4K disc is because of the upgrade in audio and visual quality. And so in order for me to count this movie as watched for this goal, I have to have watched my physical release of this in 4K. So what does this mean right now? This means that in order to complete what my new goal is, 50% of these movies by the end of the year, I have to watch 35 more 4K movies in order to pass this new goal. So what are the chances of that happening? Really, I don't think they're that high, not because I don't want to watch them, but because I have been into so many other like Criterion Collection has kind of been my thing, at least this month. And then I've just had other movies that I've been wanting to watch. These boutique labels over on this side have just been calling my name. And so those I've been spending a lot more time with than some of the 4K releases. Now that said, I do hope to get back to my 4K releases very soon. I don't know. So I'm going to put the chances of completing this goal, let's put it at 45%, so just shy of halfway. And who knows, maybe I'll surprise myself and I'll start diving more headfirst into this goal to try to complete it by the end of 2020. The other thing I should mention with this goal is I have 35 movies to watch today. So that's if my collection stops growing, which frankly, I just don't see happening. Like, I can't stop buying 4K movies. So I wanted to throw that out there just so you understand why in the next video, I now have 55 movies to watch as opposed to 35 or whatever the case may be. The next one that I made some adjustments to in my Q1 video was a video game purchasing goal because I was going crazy last year, so I added it to my 2020 goals for this year. And that goal was to play at least 3 of my 2019 video game purchases before spending more than $20 on a new game. I'm sorry, I had to read it because it's stupidly worded and I can never remember what it says. So apologies for reading it off screen. I ended up simplifying this down just because there were so many different rules to this that it just got annoying for me to try to follow or to keep track of. And so I simplified it down to simply needing to play at least 3 games for 3 hours or more or beat them before purchasing a new game for $20 or more. So it's very similar. It's just simplified for my sake, really more than anything. So I was succeeding in this goal in my first quarter, and I am happy to say I am still passing this goal. This is one of those pass or fail goals, so one thing can completely throw it off, off the charts, But at this point, I am still passing on this goal. So what are my chances of continuing passing on this goal? I'm going to put my chances of success at 80%. Okay, so that was all of my updates for my entertainment goals that I set back at the beginning of the year. If you watched my Q1 update though, you'll know that I added 3 new goals that were my quarterly goals. So the idea here is that because my tastes are always so all over the place, I wanted to add in something for the here and now, something that I am very interested in doing or completing today when I film the video, so that I can focus on that for the next, so basically so I have a reason or an excuse to focus on that for at least the next 3 months. I ended up setting 3 Q2 quarterly goals, so let's see what the results were. The first quarterly goal I set was to complete season 2 of Criminal Minds. So when I recorded that video, I was kind of obsessed with Criminal Minds, and I wanted to make sure that I added it in so I had an excuse to keep watching. Well, the Criminal Minds season 2 was like 23 episodes, and I had 13 left to go at that point. Well, I smashed this goal out of the park. I think we are into like season 5, halfway through season 5 at this point. To be honest, we've kind of stopped watching it. We haven't watched it in probably a month now. So I ended up finishing this goal like, I don't know, maybe a week or 2 after we set it, but that's okay. So I'm very happy to report that my first goal was an easy pass. I did finish at least season 2 of Criminal Minds. Next, I was hoping to complete Star Trek, the original series, season 1. I had actually just started watching like the first 4 or so episodes a couple weeks before I recorded that video, so I thought that would have been a good thing to add on the list. Unfortunately, I have not watched a single episode since then, which is a real shame because I was really enjoying it, genuinely having a good time with everything I was watching. So I don't know why I didn't get back to it. It didn't happen. So unfortunately, this goal, I failed. So I did not watch season 1 of Star Trek, the original series. A big ol' fail. My third and final goal, I actually labeled as a stretch goal for some reason, but it was to complete Tiger King on Netflix. So I hadn't started it at that point, and it was 7 episodes long. I think maybe 8 with like the special bonus episode at the end, which I did watch. So this is another one I'm happy to say that I completed with no problems at all. I was probably done with this like 2 weeks, 3 weeks after I set this goal. I binge watched it in over a matter of like 2 or 3 days. It was amazing. It was just so interesting. Fascinating program. I am a huge true crime fan, and I love the docuseries that Netflix puts out. So Tiger King was right up my alley. If you guys are at all interested in true crime, docuseries, just absurdly crazy people and situations, check out this docuseries. It is fantastic. So I'm very happy to say that this one I also passed. So I did watch all of Tiger King on Netflix. So this means that I passed 2 and failed 1 of my quarterly goals. So that's a 66% completion ratio, which is like a D in school, but we're not in school, so it doesn't matter. But I, did pretty well. So 2/3 of the way through all of these goals. So that's pretty good. So now I want to set some goals for quarter 3. So 3 things that I'm hoping to accomplish in this next quarter. In order for me to pass these 3 goals, I have to finish them by Q4, so by August 1st, 2020. So we'll see if I can do it. So first up, I want to watch the complete original series of Twin Peaks. So this is a series that I've owned for so long in this complete box set here. This actually comes with the original series, Fire Walk with Me, and Missing Pieces, which I believe are like the prequel movie and maybe the sequel movie. I don't really know. But I do have the complete TV series in here. So I have no excuse not to watch this. I've owned this for a very long time. I've heard, so many things about Twin Peaks. It's never been spoiled for me. Thank goodness. And please do not spoil it in the comments below. But I want to finish this. So I believe, it's 30 episodes I will have to complete in order to finish this goal, which is very doable. It's only 2 seasons. The first season is very short. The second season is like a standard length, I believe. So this is definitely possible. So I'm hoping to finish the complete series of Twin Peaks before Q4. So this next goal is a doozy for me, and I am super interested to see if I will have the self-control to complete it or not. So will I pass or will I fail? My goal for Q3 is to watch every movie that I purchase in Q3. So every movie I purchase in July, August, and September before Q4. So that's a big one, especially because of, July being the Criterion sale, I bought a ton of movies there, some box sets along with it. So my goal is to watch every movie that I purchase in July, August, and September before Q4. So the only thing that I'm going to exclude from this list are, one, movies that I've already seen. So if I'm purchasing something that I've watched in the past, I don't have to watch it again before Q4. A lot of times I'm just buying them to complete a collection, for example. And the other thing I'm excluding from this is gifts. Because July is my birthday month, I have received some movies and probably will receive some more from my wife as Friday approaches. So in order to just not count those, I'm excluding those from this. So just make it a little bit easier on myself. This is me wanting to see if I have the self-control for everything that I purchase, that I purposely seek out and put money down on. I need to watch it before Q4. So we'll see if I can get to it. This is one that I am probably most excited about just because it gives me, I can have a smaller to watch shelf if I want, as opposed to everything behind me. And so it just feels more manageable that way. And it hopefully will convince me to stop buying. I really want to purchase less and consume more the rest of this year. So now that the Criterion Collection sale is out of the way, or pretty close to out of the way, I'm going to make one more trip. But after that, I really want to cut down on the buying and, see an uptick in the watching or the consuming of whatever piece of media it is. So that's my goal. Watching every movie that I purchase in July, August, and September before Q4. The third and final goal that I'm setting for Q3 is to finally read Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix. I bought this book back when it released, like 2 days after it came out in 2017, and it has been sitting next to me where I watch my movies. It's been sitting there for years now, and I still haven't cracked it open and read it. So if you don't know, this actually talks about like 70s and 80s paperback horror. It talks about just some, lots of it is about like awesome cover art that it has. Like, look at this. That's amazing. Like, just beautiful artwork in here. So this is one that I've been wanting to read for so long, and so I'm finally doing it. I'm putting it on my quarterly goals to finish it this quarter. So this would be about 256 pages of reading, but the good thing is that a lot of these have these big pictures on them, and so hopefully it won't be too terribly difficult to finish. I will say, though, that it is a larger than normal page, and so we'll see. I've been wanting to read this for so long, so I figured now is the time to really dedicate myself to getting through this. So my final goal for Q3 is to finish Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix. All right, so that is going to do it for my Q2 update, or my mid-year 2020 entertainment goal updates. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know down in the comments below, how are your entertainment goals going? I would love to hear your statuses. Has anything changed? Have you already succeeded on some of them? And what do you think? Which ones am I gonna fail? Which ones do you think I can actually pass? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to have more of a conversation with you guys down there. As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to Cinefessions here on YouTube. And if not, thank you anyway for watching this video. I really do appreciate that. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.